Welcome back to the Global Forum for Responsible Recruitment. Now, our forum comes directly after the ILO's Fair Recruitment Forum, which was held in Geneva the first 2 days of this week. We're now going to hear a brief. I'll invite our guests onto the stage. First of all, Margie, would you like to bring your panelists up? Sorry. We're now going to hear a brief summary of that forum from Maria Gallotti, who's going to be speaking to us from Geneva, after which Marja Pavlanian from the ILO will examine the importance of fair and ethical recruitment and employment from the perspective of both business and migrant workers. But first of all, we're going to call up Maria from Geneva to give us an update on what went on at the ILO's event in Geneva this week. Maria, over to you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Neil. Thank you to the AHRB for inviting me to share my experience. Over the last 2 days, we have met in Geneva headquarters to celebrate the 10th anniversary of the ILO Fair Recruitment Initiative, which actually was celebrated at the end of last year. But this was really the occasion for us as we launch a new strategy for the Fair Recruitment Initiative for the next 5 years to reflect on where we are, what we have achieved, the challenges that remain, but most importantly, to reflect on the future, on how we can move the agenda forward and accelerate progress. So the conference convened more than 90 participants in persons from governments, employers, workers' organizations, private recruitment agencies, public employment services, as well as companies, academia, international organizations, and civil society organizations. So we know, and I'm sure you've been discussing and you will discuss in this forum, that over the last 10 years we've come a long way, and the fact that so many of our constituents gathered in Geneva over the last 2 days, and in Bangkok you are so many at this forum, this clearly point at the fact that the issue of fair and ethical recruitment is still very much of relevance, and it is a shared commitment and a responsibility for so many around the globe. So I just want to convey a few messages that came out of the conference that just concluded yesterday, hoping that this can, spark some, insight or some information that can, be discussed in the Global Forum for Responsible Recruitment over the next day. So let me start with the first message that came out, and obviously not surprisingly in a forum like the ILO. The first message was that fair recruitment, ethical or responsible recruitment is a core matter of the world of work, because it sits at the very start of every employment relationship. And as our Director General said in the opening remarks, recruitment is a crossroad. It can be a path to decent work or the beginning of deception and exploitation. So keeping that in mind and bringing at the conference so many participants from the real economy, the conference discussed a variety of topics, some of which you will be also discussing, such as the challenges and opportunities of digitalization in recruitment and how this is often looked at the solution, and it certainly brings a lot of opportunities, but it has also its limitation, considering also the digital divide of migrant workers in many cases, the importance of data collection and sharing, the criticality of more targeted and sectorial approaches, so to tackle the realities of workers and employers in different sectors of the economy, which are sometimes most at risk. And most importantly, they need to address the root causes of abusive recruitment and the importance to organizing and empowering workers. This came out very strong from the conference discussion. So in line with the Fair Recruitment Initiative strategy, I'd like to outline 5 priorities and a few points connected to them. First of all, the need to strengthen knowledge and data to drive smarter action. So participants highlighted that over the last 10 years, we've come a long way. We've built evidence, global guidance, collective experience, and tools to support different actors to design and implement fair recruitment practices. And most importantly, we have a common language now and an understanding on critical matters such as what constitute recruitment fees and cost. And the definition of the ILO of recruitment fees and cost is a good example of that common language and understanding. We also discuss the criticality of generating and sharing relevant data and how each actor has access to different forms of data, from contact with migrant workers to statistical data, from law enforcement, administrative data, but partnership are needed to harmonize the way we collect those data and how we share and use data, so to put the pieces of a puzzle together and make a whole picture. The second point that came out is that regulation of recruitment is absolutely critical. This is the very basis to ensure protection of worker and a level playing field for all actors involved. Yet regulatory gaps, we all know, persist. We need robust, clear, transparent regulation aligned with international standards. We have those standards and guidance. But most importantly, we also need to do much better on enforcing existing laws and close the implementation gap. For this, there was a clear call to build a strong institution that effectively enforce existing regulation. Still today, regulation are often hardly monitored or enforced. And so strengthening enforcement authorities' capacities, such as labor inspectorates' capacity to detect abuses in sectors where the risk is higher, are critical to address these gaps. The third message that we got from the conference is that we need to accelerate and scale up responsible business practices. And what better than the forum you are in now to reflect on this point. We need to move from pilot experiences to practice a scale and ensure that labor recruiters, employers know that fairness is not a cost, it's a smart investment. We need to scale up our partnership with business community to show that fair recruitment is not only possible, but it's also profitable. Participants highlighted that there is still limited demand for fair recruitment from employers and a weak then market demand. So the coming years provide some opportunities as due diligence requirements become more entrenched. However, this needs a cultural change so that fair recruitment becomes part of business as usual and not a box-ticking compliance issue. We need to strengthen our work and engagement with business, demonstrate the business case for fair recruitment, and document it so that we pass from pilots to a more systemic approach. Fourth, well, of course, the point that I mentioned before, the importance of workers' empowerment and amplifying their voice. Quoting one of our participants, a worker who is organized is a worker who is protected and empowered. And this is not only good for workers, of course, critical for them, but where recruitment is not fair, we also heard that this leads to informality of employment, irregularity of migration, and where labor rights deteriorate, trafficking and forced labor increases. And this was a point very strongly made by our sister agency, UNODC, in the room. So the risk of abuse in these cases is high, and the risk for business is also high. We heard how organizing migrant workers and domestic workers among them also is not only possible, but it's critical to move the agenda forward for all. Finally, we had a whole panel dedicated to the issue of partnership and collaboration. No country, no actor can achieve progress in isolation. Migrant workers recruitment in particular demands bilateral, regional, and global action. To accelerate programs, participants stress the need for a systemic approach, engaging all stakeholders, ensuring that employers, recruitment agencies, and workers know about and act on high-level policymaking and lawmaking. So we've now launched over the last 2 days the new Fair Recruitment Strategy, which will be soon made available and shared with you all. We very much look forward to hearing the results of your discussion in the coming days and get new and more ideas and inspiration on how we can move our common agenda forward in practical terms. Please, I would encourage you to also visit and register to the ILO Fair Recruitment Hub.org, which is a platform that you can continue to explore, engage with, and reach out to ILO and its partners. We have been working over the last 10 years with the IHRB and many other partners in this area, again, to underline that this is a common and a shared responsibility, but it's also an opportunity for partnership and to tackle these challenges and opportunities from multiple angles. So I will stop it here and I wish you a very good next to the meeting or continuation of the meeting. And thank you for having me here.
Thank you, Maria, for joining from Geneva, and good afternoon to everybody in the room. I'm very happy to take this discussion forward. My name is Marja Paavilainen. I'm Senior Program Officer with the ILO's Regional Labour Migration Team, Triangle in ASEAN program based here in Bangkok. And just to react to the 5 points that Maria mentioned, I think in this forum, I've heard a lot of discussion, of course, about data and responsible business practices, but maybe some of the other points, the importance of regulation in leveling the playing field and lifting the bottom up for everybody hasn't come up so much here. So that's really an important point to note. And then, of course, workers organizing and the benefits that it can bring for workers and employers, it needs to be emphasized. And luckily, one of our panelists here will speak about this. And of course, partnerships we have discussed extensively. All right, so to take this discussion to a regional and Thailand-specific context now, I am very happy to be joined by two of our long-term partners. And thank you to Neil and the IHRB team for inviting us. It's really a great pleasure to be here. In the 2 days that we've been here in this room, I've heard quite a few calls for country-specific understanding and interventions and lifting the entire industries up together. And also there's been acknowledgement that migrant workers themselves know what needs to be done to make fair recruitment possible. And indeed, I hope our session will be able to contribute to these issues. To introduce my two panelists, firstly, Ms. Atapan Maasrungsun, advisor from Thai Tuna Industry Association. TTIA is a long-term partner of the ILO. They are an industry association representing 28 major tuna and seafood processing companies in Thailand. And since 2016, the ILO has been supporting TTIA and also Thai Frozen Foods Association to implement the Seafood Good Labor Practices program. Ms. Atapan will soon share some of the successes and challenges in this approach to try to lift the whole industry up together. And my second panelist is Ms. Nanzar Nimint, committee member of the Network of Domestic Workers in Thailand. This is a membership-based organization of domestic workers established in 2011, which has more than 1,100 members, including both Thai, Burmese, and Lao migrant workers. And Ms. Sarni herself is of Myanmar origin and currently employed as a domestic worker, while also being a great advocate and organizer of domestic workers. And the main functions of NDWT include indeed organizing workers, but also advocating for increased legal and social protection. And the organization or the network was formed with a strong support from the HomeNet, which is an ILO partner since 1997. And just to celebrate one little advocacy win for the NDWT, HomeNet, and the ILO, we were very happy last year that the Thailand Ministerial Regulation 15 was passed, which for the first time in Thailand gives domestic workers worker rights, including minimum wage protection, 8-hour workdays, maternity protection, and many others. So Zarni will be talking about the experience of migrant workers in Thailand and also touching upon those issues that we have heard mentioned many times this morning, that every change of employer, every renewal of work permit incurs cost. And the fact, the ILO likes to say that fair recruitment is the beginning of decent work. Well, it's not just one-time event, but it seems to be a recurring issue. And every time when there are fees to be paid or costs related to government documents, the ILO general principles and operational guidelines on fair recruitment would apply. Before I ask my first question to Kun Attapan, I wanted to give a very short recap of the ILO general principles and operational guidelines on fair recruitment, and especially the definition of recruitment fees and related costs, which has been the cornerstone of our work on fair recruitment since 2016 and 2019, respectively, when these were adopted. And the general principles and operational guidelines, they define 13 principles covering many issues, including no retention of identity documents, freedom of movement, legal protection, many things. But I think we all know that the point about no recruitment fees or related costs should be charged to workers. This is the trickiest and most difficult one to implement. So the question that then remains is that what are these fees and costs that the worker should not pay? And in this ILO definition of recruitment fees and related costs, there are 3 types of costs defined. There is recruitment fees, related costs, and illegitimate, unreasonable, or undisclosed costs. And the reason why the distinction between these 3 matter is because the rules on the second category are a bit different in the sense that they allow some space for exemptions at national level. But in any case, all these costs, whether it's charged directly or indirectly, whether it's charged one time or several times recurring, none of them, as the first principle, none of them should be borne by the worker. So firstly, on the recruitment fee, these are the costs paid for example, a recruitment agency service fees, but also in the case of direct recruitment by the employer, then costs relating to, let's say, obtaining government clearances or government permits, costs relating to advertising or interviews. None of these should be charged to the worker. Then I'll go to the third category, illicit costs, next, because that one is also easy to discuss. bribes, under the table payments, some of these things that have come up in the discussion in this morning. None of them, of course, never should be paid on by the worker. And then the second category, related costs, is the trickier one, where there is some space for national implementation, meaning that the guidelines, the definition document lists certain cost categories that are considered to be related to recruitment. For example, medical costs, insurance costs, cost for training. If these are required as part of the recruitment or are essentially part of the recruitment, then they would be costs that could not be charged to workers. But here, the competent authorities in each country have the flexibility to define some exceptions, and this requires, first of all, consultation of workers and employers organizations. Then they need to be in the interest of the workers, and they need to be also disclosed before the recruitment to the worker, him or herself. So this is a place where there is space for defining national cost categories, and indeed there are cases where the ILO supervisory system has given or assessed cost structure adopted at national level and have found these to be in compliance with our convention on private recruitment agencies. So, sorry, that was a lot of legal terminology and definitions, but let's now then turn to our panelists to discuss how this looks like from the industry and worker perspective. And just to note that Maria is staying online until the end of this session. So if later you have questions about the ILO definition or the new fair recruitment strategy or others, you can then raise questions to Maria later. Okay, now we go to Ms. Atapan first, and I would like to ask you to share some good examples of progress in advancing fair recruitment and conditions of work through the Seafood Good Labour Practices program in Thailand. I know that you want to discuss challenges too, but let's focus on the progress made first. Over to you. Thank you. And there is one slide to display, please.
Hello. Good afternoon. And first of all, thank you, IHRB, to invite me to this forum. Or maybe it's too small. Okay. Well, as Maria introduced, the association that we established 2013, at that time, we have just only 13 members. All of them are tuna packer in Thailand. But at this moment, we have totally 28 members. We have 70,000 workers, direct workers. And about 70% are migrant workers. And most of them are women. So for tuna, we export worldwide. So this is why we try to comply to the international labor law and regulation. So, but for tuna, we do have SML, small, medium, and large. Anyone large can comply quickly. And for the medium and small, they take a bit of time. Okay, I would like to share here on slides the recruitment expenses that this is from our member. According to the JLP program, we have to visit our member every year. So this is what we found. You will see that the number 1, 6, and 7 is on the red. It's mean that this is according to Thai law, that the employer do not have to pay. Okay, this is written in the law. But anyway, we pay everything on this slide. Okay. Passport fee, document from the country of origin, contract signing, agency services fee, we also pay. You can see that the year 2023 and 2024 will be a bit different. For expenses incurred in Thailand, visa fee we also pay. Now, 94% of our members already pay. Work permit fee, medical checkup, okay, and test for hepatitis, okay, food, drink, and travel costs in Thailand, COVID costs also, medical checkup for 6 forbidden diseases for work permit, we also pay. And the last one, cost for 14 days when we got COVID last time. Okay. Someone may question, we have that year 26 members, but pay, you look at the number 25 members only. Because we do have one member that use just only Thai workers, no migrants worker. Okay. I would like to touch what Maria just speak out about the fair regulation. It is fair or not, I don't know. Because we have to pay everything. We have no chance, no choice because we have to export. We have to do according to fair or not. I really don't know. But I would like to point out that I think that some of you knows very well that they still have many expenses that not clear. We call it gray area expenses that we have to pay. It will point to ourselves that we accept those corruption or not. Leave all of you to think, okay? This is all our members have done. For this year, we are going to visit again, like every year. So next time you will see the report for totally 28 members. And we do hope that they will comply to all of those free, okay? Next slide, please. This is what we got from 2016 to 2024, okay? The first one, when we start GLP program, before GLP program, some member do not have welfare committee. Okay, and after we remember that we start 2013, but we comply with the LO for the GLP from 2016. Okay, and take a few years, and then after that, after 2020, number one, everyone has welfare committee. The second one, no migrants worker as a welfare committee. This is very important because in the past, we never have those migrants worker to be the member. But when we comply with the GLP, we think that it will be good for the migrants worker to join with the committee. So we let them join the committee. Okay, they have their own election like Thai people. Okay. The third one, you see, election. This one mean the migrant worker also election by themselves. The fourth one, we found out that the contract still in Thai language, only Thai. This is not good, not according to the GLP regulation that we have. So we advise to our member, and you look at the 2024 already improved. Number 5, no pay list, no pay slip. Okay, from 2017 already done. And number 6, deduction from wages. Okay. If you look at this one, you will have question. Why still deduct? It's against the law. We found out that one small, very small factory deduct the funeral. We call it funeral assistance. In Thai, we call ชาปนกิจศพ Okay. So we take note to this factory, and they explain that they have already discussed with the Ministry of Labor that can be done or not, and the Ministry of Labor confirmed that it's okay if it is the benefit for the workers. Okay. Number 7, worker buy their own equipment already improved. Bathroom card, this is interesting. Okay, it is ridiculous to have bathroom card, but one factory said that they found out that they had one workers got fed in the room. So no one know who and it's found out later, and it is seriously. So they have to comply the bathroom card. Anyway, we suggest to them that it's not correct, so they will adjust it. Okay. The pregnancy test before employment. Okay, this is the same, because one also small, very small factory has found out that one woman pregnant, and it's not safe for her to work in some area. Okay, so this is what all that we found out from our visit. So we try to improve every part, everything to make to be good for the workers. So we do hope that for the next visit will be better than this. Thank you.
Thank you, Kun Attapan. I think this is really good in concrete data and interesting information, and shows clearly also that as the membership numbers of your association increase, some new issues emerge, and of course this requires continuous follow-up to ensure implementation. All right, let's now move to Zarni and hear from the workers' perspective about the challenges that you yourself or other migrant workers you're working with have faced in relation to recruitment fees and especially maintaining your status here in Thailand. I'm aware that we are a bit behind the time, so let's try to be quite concise to be leaving time for questions as well.
ค่ะสวัสดีค่ะทุกท่านค่ะดิฉันชื่อสานีนะคะก็มาจากประเทศเมียนมาค่ะก็เข้ามาในประเทศไทยก็24 ปีแล้วค่ะ แล้ววัน24 ปีนี้ก็ซานี่ก็มีนายจ้าง15 คนค่ะโดยที่ทำงานเป็นลูกจ้างทำงานบ้างค่ะก็สมัยนั้นก็ซานี่เข้ามาในประเทศไทยก็ไม่รู้หรอกว่าจะเข้ามาแบบไหนที่ถูกกฎหมายเนาะก็เลยเขารู้เพียงได้แค่ว่าจะเข้าไปทำงานในประเทศไทยค่ะตอนนั้นก็เลยติดต่อในหน้าบล็อกเกอร์ไปเข้าไปที่ประเทศไทยค่ะหลังจากนั้นก็ซานี่ได้มีโอกาสลงทะเบียนเนาะเขาเรียกว่าลงทะเบียนบัตรสีชมพูเนาะก็เลยซานี่ก็ได้มีโอกาสฟังดูแล้วก็อาจจะงงๆอยู่เนาะว่าซานี่เข้ามาครั้งแรกที่เข้ามาประเทศไทยเนี่ยเข้ามาแบบช่องทางธรรมชาติเนาะพูดง่ายๆก็เข้ามาแบบผิดกฎหมายค่ะหลังจากนั้นก็ซานี่ก็ได้กลายเป็นเขาเรียกว่าอะไรลงทะเบียนเข้าสู่ถูกกฎหมายค่ะรายงานที่ถูกกฎหมายค่ะก็เลยแล้ววันนั้นนะซานี่เวลาที่เราไปสัมภาษณ์งานอะไรอย่างเงี้ยนายจ้างเนี่ยเขาก็จะสอบถามว่ามีwork permitไหมมีวีซ่าไหมอะไรอย่างงี้ค่ะแล้วเราก็เลยมาต้องหานายจ้างที่ทำให้มีเอกสารเหล่านั้นเนาะเพราะฉะนั้นเนี่ยซานี่ก็เลยมาต้องใช้วิธีที่ว่าจ้างนายหน้าเนี่ยเป็นนายจ้างให้เราค่ะค่าใช้จ่ายทุกอย่างก็เราก็เป็นคนจ่ายเองทุกอย่างนะคะเพราะว่านายจ้างเนี่ยหางานให้เราเนาะเราก็คิดว่าเราก็ต้องคงจ่ายให้เขาเนาะอะไรอย่างเงี้ยค่าใช้จ่ายเรานั้นค่ะเรากลายไปคิดในมุมกลางก็นายจ้างเนี่ยเขาก็ได้คงรายงานที่เขาอยากได้เนาะแต่ค่าใช้จ่ายเหล่านั้นน่ะนายจ้างเนี่ยเป็นคงต้องจ่ายเองไหมคะแต่ว่าตอนนั้นก็เราก็ไม่รู้เนาะเราก็คิดว่าเราก็ต้องจ่ายเป็นทุกอย่างค่ะก็เลยค่ะก็ตอนนั้นเนี่ยซานี่ก็ไม่รู้หรอกว่าการต่อเอกสารเหล่านั้นน่ะยื่นเอกสารหรือทำบัตรสีชมพูไหมหรือทำwork permitไหมอะไรอย่างเงี้ยซานี่ก็ไม่เคยรู้ว่าอันนี้มาเป็น recruitment เนาะเราไม่เคยรู้เลยว่าขั้นตอนเหล่านั้นน่ะมันจะเกี่ยวข้องกับ recruitment ค่ะเราก็รู้ว่าคนที่เข้ามาเป็น MOU จากประเทศต้นทางเนาะประเทศเมียนมาเข้ามาในประเทศไทยคนเหล่านั้นน่ะมาเป็นเกี่ยวข้องกับ recruitment เราก็เข้าใจแบบนั้นเนาะแต่พอเรากลับไปสอบถามคนที่เข้ามาเป็น MOU จากเพื่อนที่คนเรารู้จักน่ะขอโทษค่ะเราก็เห็นว่าเพื่อนเหล่านั้นน่ะเขาบอกว่ามี recruitment ด้วยเหรออะไรอย่างนี้ค่ะเขาก็กลับมาถามเราว่าเขาไม่เคยรู้เลยว่าค่าใช้จ่ายเหล่านั้นน่ะมาเป็น recruitment ที่นายจ้างเนี่ยมาต้องจ่ายให้เขาก็รู้แค่ว่าเขาเข้ามาเป็น MOU ค่าใช้จ่ายเหล่านั้นเนี่ยเขาต้องเป็นคนที่จ่ายเองมากกว่าเขาเข้าใจแบบนั้นมาตลอดค่ะก็เลยมาทำให้รายงานเนาะรายงานค่าเช่าส่วนใหญ่เนี่ยเราไม่คุ้นเคยกับrecruitment เหล่านี้เลยเราไม่เข้าใจเลยว่ามันคืออะไร recruitment ค่ะก็เลยเราก็รู้เพียงว่าเราก็เข้าใจไหนหน้าให้ประมาณนั้นค่ะค่ะแล้วก็ในประเทศไทยก็ยกตัวอย่างเช่นของซานี่เนาะของซานี่เนี่ยมาเป็นกลุ่มที่เขาเรียกว่าถ้าเป็นผู้แปลภาษาตอนนั้นก็ซานี่ก็ไม่รู้หรอกว่าซานี่เนี่ยอยู่กลุ่มไหนไม่ใช่กลุ่ม MOU ไม่ใช่กลุ่มที่ทำบัตรสีชมพูไหมมันไม่ใช่เนาะตอนนั้นก็ซานี่ก็รู้แค่ว่าทุกๆ2 ปีซานี่ต่อเอกสารใหม่โดยที่เข้าทำงานในประเทศไทยเนาะพอหลังจากที่โฮมเน็ตไทยแลนด์เขาก็อธิบายว่ากลุ่มของซานี่เนี่ยเขาเรียกว่ามติครม.เนาะว่ามันจะเป็นนโยบายของรัฐบาลที่ว่าอาจจะเป็นระยะสั้น1 ปีหรือ2 ปีเขาก็กำหนดขึ้นมาอะไรอย่างนี้ค่ะเราก็รู้ว่าอ๋อซานี่กลุ่มของซานี่เนี่ยอยู่ที่มติครม.กลุ่มนี้เนาะก็เลยเพราะฉะนั้นเนี่ยทุกๆ1 ปีหรือ2 ปีเนี่ยซานี่ก็ต่อบาสิลงทะเบียนใหม่เนาะต่อปาเมใหม่แล้วก็ปีซ่าใหม่ค่ะแล้ววันที่ซานี่อยู่ประเทศไทย24 ปีเนี้ยมันจะมีแค่ล่าสุดที่นายจ้างซานี่ทำงานกับเขา8 ปีเขาเป็นคนแรกที่ซานี่ได้รู้สึกว่าซานี่ได้ผลประโยชน์จาก recruitment ตรงนี้ค่ะเพราะว่านายจ้างปัจจุบันนี้เนี่ยเขาจ่ายเองทุกอย่างค่ะเกี่ยวกับเรื่องเอกสารเรื่องทุกอย่างเขาก็เป็นคนรับผิดชอบเนาะอันนี้มาเป็นครั้งแรกที่ซานี่24 ปีที่ซานี่อยู่ในประเทศไทยค่ะซานี่ได้ลาสิเหล่านั้นย้อนกลับไป10 ปีที่แล้วอะซานี่ใช้วิธีตลอดใช้วิธีที่ว่าเราก็จ้างนายหน้าเนี่ยเป็นนายจ้างให้เรามาตลอดเนาะอันนี้ก็มาเป็นขบวนการที่เราอยู่ในประเทศไทยเราก็ใช้วิธีการแบบนี้ถ้าพูดถึงกฎหมายถูกกฎหมายไหมมันไม่ถูกกฎหมายค่ะ แต่ว่าเราอย่าอยู่แบบถูกกฎหมายในประเทศไทยก็เลยเราจะหาวิธีที่ว่าเราจะอยู่แบบไหนที่ถูกกฎหมายค่ะมันก็เลยซานี่ก็ใช้วิธีตัวนี้ค่ะอันนี้ก็มาเป็นขบวนการอย่างหนึ่งเนาะรายงานค่าเช่าส่วนใหญ่ก็จะใช้หมายถึงว่าจะทางวิธีการแบบนี้เนาะว่าทุกอย่างที่เกี่ยวกับ recruitment ก็เราก็เป็นคนที่จ่ายทุกอย่างค่ะตอนนี้นโยบายเขาในตอนนี้ที่ประเทศไทยก็เรามีความรู้สึกว่าเวลาที่เกี่ยวกับกระบวนการต่อเอกสารหรือลงทะเบียนใหม่เหล่านั้นน่ะมาทำให้เวลาที่เขาประกาศออกมาเนี่ยมันก็เวลามันก็กระทันเขาเรียกว่าอะไรมากระทันชิดไปเนาะมันจะมีข้อจำกัดเวลาหลายอย่างแล้วก็มันจะมีกระบวนการที่เขาเรียกว่าอะไรซับซ้อนเนาะรายงานเนี่ยเข้าถึงไม่ได้ค่ะเวลาที่เขาประกาศออกมาก็นายจ้างบางส่วนก็เขาก็ไม่เข้าใจอยู่ดีว่า process ที่เขาต้องทำต่อไปเนี่ยมันยังไงมันก็สุดท้ายก็กลับไปที่นายหน้าค่ะแล้วก็รายงานก็มาต้องจ่ายเพิ่มค่าใช้จ่ายเหล่านั้นค่ะขอบคุณมากค่ะ
Thank you so much, Zarni. What I hear there is that these very complicated government processes with short time frame windows for renewal for 1 year or 2 years, all of this is so complicated and so complex that it's impossible for migrant workers to navigate that by themselves, and that's why the reliance on brokers and agents comes in with the very high costs. And indeed, as you mentioned, many of the migrant workers really don't even know what their status or type of permit is, and it's important that there is organizations like the network of domestic workers to train them on these issues and empower them to know their status and how to navigate these difficult processes. Now we turn back to Kun Atapan to hear the employers' views on the challenges and how these kind of policies that Zarni explained look to you, and if you have any suggestions for the government or the buyers or any other stakeholders on how to make this better. And I would like to ask you to stick to 3 minutes, so we still have some time for questions after. Thank you.
Well, if I can advise the government, I would tell them that can you simplify the system? Okay, I mean both sides, the origin country sides and in Thailand too, not just only in Thailand, because for the country of origin also has to change something. Okay, this is for the government side. Can I touch the buyer side? Because everything the buyer asks for, but yeah, they never pay. So can they share the recruitment cost? This is the question. Or please, or give us, as I told you that we still have, I understand that in Thailand, we have a lot of SME, so still need education. So we still need training. What is EPP? What is the new regulation in EU, in USA? Blanket for USA now. Okay, so this is what I would like to say, that buyers should have responsibility on this too. Thank you.
And then over to you, Zarni, for the same question. What are your recommendations to the government or the employers, other stakeholders, the recruitment industry itself in making this better? Thank you.
ค่ะตัวนี้ก็ขอบคุณมากค่ะที่มีคำถามนี้มาเนาะก็เลยรู้สึกดีใจมากค่ะที่ได้มีโอกาสจะพูดสิ่งเหล่านี้ค่ะก็อยากจะฝากถึงรัฐบาลที่เกี่ยวข้องเนาะแล้วก็ ประกอบการค่ะก็เกี่ยวห้องแล้วก็เกี่ยวห้องที่เกี่ยวกับorganization ที่ทำงานเกี่ยวกับแรงงานเนาะว่าอยากจะฝากว่าเราอยากจะทางคนเข้าใจเนาะว่า recruitment เนี่ยมันคืออะไรอย่างนี้ค่ะเพราะว่าเท่าที่ผ่านมาเนี่ยซานี่ก็บอกแล้วเนาะว่าขณะซานี่อยู่ประเทศไทย24 ปีเนี่ยซานี่ไม่เคยรู้เลยว่าขั้นตอนการต่อเอกสารหรือบาทำบาใหม่หรือทำบาว่าปะเมใหม่อะไรอย่างเงี้ยลงทะเบียนเหล่านั้นนะมาเป็นขั้นตอนของ recruitment อย่างหนึ่งเราไม่เคยรู้เลยค่ะว่าอันนี้เราอยากให้ทำตรงนี้เนี่ยให้เรียกว่าrecruitment ค่ะว่าให้รายงานก็เข้าใจเนาะตรงประเด็นตรงเข้าใจตรงนี้ค่ะแล้วก็ข้อที่2ค่ะเราก็อยากจะเสนอว่าเกี่ยวกับ recruitment ตรงนี้เนาะอยากให้เขาเวลาที่เขาออกมาหรือข้อเอกสารอะไรอย่างเงี้ยเราก็อยากให้เขาเรียกว่าอะไรคนที่เกี่ยวข้อง recruitment ตรงนี้เนาะว่าออกมาแบบง่ายๆค่ะเข้าใจง่ายเนาะอะไรอย่างเงี้ยมันก็เลยเวลาที่รายงานค่าเช่าก็เข้าใจหรือรายงานก็เข้าใจหรือนายจ้างก็เข้าใจง่ายก็อาจจะทำให้โอเคกระบวนการเราเนี่ยก็มันจะง่ายมากขึ้นค่ะแล้วก็มันจะมีอีกข้อหนึ่งค่ะว่าอย่าให้เขาเรียกว่า recruitment ตรงนี้เนาะว่าค่าใช้จ่ายเหล่านั้นเนี่ยเกี่ยวกับ recruitment ตรงนี้เนี่ยอย่าให้เปลี่ยนความเข้าใจเนาะว่าลูกจ้างเนี่ยไม่ใช่เป็นคนที่ต้องจ่ายค่ะแรงงานเนี่ยไม่ใช่เป็นคนที่ต้องจ่ายค่ะมันต้องเป็นนายจ้างที่เป็นคนต้องจ่ายค่ะอันนี้ก็อยากให้ทางความเข้าใจกับตรงนี้ด้วยเนาะค่ะแล้วก็มันจะมีเกี่ยวกับrecruitment เกี่ยวกับการต่อเอกสารหรือ MOU ตัวนี้เนี่ยอย่าให้เวลาที่ออกมาเนี่ยอย่าให้ขั้นตอนกระบวนการเนาะไม่ต้องซับซ้อนมากค่ะอย่าให้แบบเข้าถึงง่ายอะไรอย่างเงี้ยมันก็เลยมาทำให้นายจ้างก็เขาเรียกว่าอะไรเข้าถึงตัวนี้ได้เนาะมันก็รายงานยุติรวมกับซานี่หรือเพื่อนๆหรือรายงานทุกคนค่ะแล้วก็นายจ้างด้วยค่ะเราก็อย่าทำแบบถูกกฎหมายเนาะเราอย่าอยู่แบบถูกกฎหมายแล้วก็เข้ามาแบบเขาเรียกว่าอะไรทำงานแบบถูกกฎหมายก็เลยอย่าให้ขบวนการเหล่านั้นน่ะไม่ต้องซับซ้อนมากเนาะเข้าใจง่ายเข้าถึงง่ายค่ะกับตัวนี้ค่ะแล้วก็มันจะมีอันหนึ่งที่ว่าเวลาที่เขาออกเกี่ยวกับ recruitment เนาะเกี่ยวกับการต่อเอกสารเหล่านั้นน่ะเขาเรียกว่าอะไรภาษาที่เขาใช้เนาะอย่าให้ภาษาที่ไม่ใช่ภาษาราชการค่ะว่าภาษาราชการเราก็ไม่เข้าใจอยู่ดีเนาะแต่คณะซานี่ฟังภาษาไทยได้เข้าใจภาษาไทยได้แต่พอเอกสารเรานะออกมาเราก็อ่านแล้วก็เราก็ไม่เข้าใจอยู่ดีมันจะมีนายจ้างบางส่วนเขาก็ไม่เข้าใจเนาะอันนี้ก็เราอยากให้ตัวนี้ก็ง่ายด้วยค่ะเวลาที่ออกเอกสารอะไรมาเนาะก็เลยแล้วก็และที่สำคัญค่ะคนที่เข้ามาเราเข้าใจว่าคนที่เข้ามาแบบ MOU เนี่ยเขาจะมีการคุ้มครอง recruitment ตรงนี้อยู่เนาะแต่ในปัจจุบันนี้เนี่ยเราเห็นทุกคนว่าคนที่เข้ามาแบบ MOU เนี่ยเขาไม่รู้เลยว่ามันจะมี recruitment ตรงนี้เขาก็ต้องจ่ายเองทุกอย่างค่ะอันนี้ก็เราก็อยากจะฝากตรงนี้ด้วยนะคะแล้วก็ที่สำคัญค่ะเราอยากให้ไม่ใช่ว่าประเทศไทยเนาะเหมือนกับที่นายจ้างพูดไม่ใช่ว่าในประเทศไทยอย่างเดียวที่ต้องรับผิดชอบตัวนี้เนาะอย่าให้ประเทศปลายทางก็รับมีความรับผิดชอบตัวนี้เหมือนกันค่ะแล้วก็มันจะมีไม่อยากให้คนที่เกี่ยวข้องกับกฎหมายตรงนี้เนาะอย่าให้บังคับใช้กฎหมายด้วยค่ะไม่มี corruption ไม่มีใต้ดินไม่มีจ่ายใต้ดินอะไรอย่างเงี้ยอย่าให้ไม่มีตัวนี้เนาะอันนี้ก็อย่าให้ไม่ใช่ฝั่งประเทศไทยมันจะเป็นฝั่งประเทศต้องทางที่ประเทศเมียนมาด้วยว่าอย่าให้กฎหมายเหล่านี้กระชับมากขึ้นค่ะแล้วก็สุดท้ายอยากจะฝากนะคะอยากจะให้แรงงานทุกคนเนาะสามารถรวมกลุ่มได้ค่ะรวมทั้งแรงงานข้าชาติด้วยค่ะเข้ารวมกลุ่มสร้างกลุ่มอื่นได้เนาะว่าเขาก็มาพูดคุยกันแลกเปลี่ยนกันประสบการณ์แล้วก็ความท้าทายอุปสรรคที่เขาเจอกันเนี่ยเวลาที่เขามาแลกเปลี่ยนเนี่ยเขาก็มาเจตนาที่ว่าโอเคเขาเรียกว่าอะไรสิ่งเหล่านี้เนี่ยมาทำให้เขาเรียกว่าการเอาถูกเอาเปรียบลดลงมาได้ระดับหนึ่งค่ะขอบคุณมากค่ะ
Thank you, Zarni. Thank you. I think we want to open the floor for questions, but before that, I would like to ask if Maria wants to comment on this discussion from Geneva.
Thank you so much. Can you hear me? Yes.
We can hear you.
Well, just very briefly, I mean, I heard a few points that I wanted to underline and reassure, or maybe, share the concern that these are challenges that are not only specific to the country that you are referring to. This is really, some of the points that you raise are global challenges, which also mean that they're global responsibilities, and that we need to tackle them. And when I highlight the point on the need for regulatory framework and a legislation that is robust and implemented effectively, clearly to me, this points at one of the points that was made by both speakers on the need to make legislation accessible, transparent, understandable. It's not any legislation. It's legislation that needs to be understood by those that it is meant to protect and regulate. So this is a very important point: simplification, streamlining of legislative provision, and dissemination of this regulatory framework in a way that it is understood. It's absolutely critical, and the role of organization like the one you represent, the unions, also to make it understood from workers. The reality is that across the world, workers tend to expect to pay recruitment fees. That is more the norm, that it's not. So this is also very much looking at the problem of changing the behavioral, and the perception among workers and employers that this is not what it should be. So in fact, sometimes when workers are told that they are not going to pay, they think there is something wrong in their recruitment process. So we really need to change that perception, and the role of organization and advocacy organization to make sure that workers understand and are aware that this is not what they should be expecting to do. But the second point I also wanted to make to the employer representative there, it's when we're talking about recruitment fees and cost, clearly the ILO call for recruitment fees and cost not to be paid by workers. This is what is, clearly embedded in our principle and guidance. But that also means that there is a significant space for reducing recruitment costs for employers as well. I mean, there is a recognition that costs are way too high, and in many cases also linked to untransparent, corrupted, practices. And so not only this should be eliminated for workers, but it can be significantly reduced for employers. So I think this needs to be recognized. It needs to be tackled. It means there's also responsibilities of everybody along the chain, including, buyers and governments, to reduce those costs, considering also, as you mentioned, that many are small producers and small, small and medium enterprises, which face different challenges than big companies. So we do need to take those challenges into account when regulating and enforcing legislation. So those are my two broad comments. Thanks for asking me.
Thank you, Maria, and we'll get our questions now. But while she is coming here, I just wanted to share that the ILO did a study on recruitment fees and costs paid by migrants coming to Thailand a few years ago, and it's quite astonishing that 70% of those costs are for government documents. Government documents in the country of origin and in the destination. So there is definitely scope for reducing those costs so that the burden on employers is less, and also, of course, for workers, those who still currently do pay them. All right, thank you. We have 5 minutes, I think, so let's take one or two. Yeah.
I'll give you two questions then. We note the responsibility of businesses to pay for recruitment fees and related costs In many countries, corruption is present in the recruitment process, speed up processes, and obtaining documents. How do we go about this, and how should businesses respond as they do not want to pay for such unofficial costs? The second one is there is a common belief that all recruitment agencies are not trustworthy, and they all often are grouped together in a negative way. This can be discouraging for the ones who are working honestly and following the right processes. Being ethical isn't just about charging fees, it's also about being honest and transparent during hiring. How can we change this perception and support the agencies that are doing the right thing?
Thank you for these two questions. And I would like to suggest, Maria, that you would take the first one to share a bit of comparative experiences, and I could respond to the second one with some regional examples. Maria, are you ready to respond, or shall? Yes, go ahead.
Yes, so I mean, as the point on corruption was just made before. I mean, as I said, this is a point that is common to many countries, and so I think again, this is an issue that needs to be tackled from multiple angles, right? I mean, so there is a clear understanding, as you mentioned before, Marja, that the recruitment fees that are illegitimate and illegal include all that kind of corruption related cost. This is a much broader sort of issue that is related to the government anti-corruption efforts. Clearly, also making sure, and the two questions are somehow connected as well, because to make sure that those agencies that are compliant and providing, transparent, effective services are somehow awarded and made known, because the reality is that because of all these issues, the agencies are often facing unfair competition from unscrupulous actors, at all stages. So, I mean, enforcement and focusing on providing, institutions like labor inspectorates with the enough capacity and human and financial resources to detect abuses of recruitment, including corruption, and it's absolutely critical. And accompanying, if you wish, enforcement capacity with awarding of good compliant actors is a combination of different approaches. It is clear that not only employers don't want to pay for corruption, but workers don't want to pay for corruption. I mean, this is altogether a cost that should be eliminated.
Thank you, Maria. And then I'll quickly respond to the question about recruitment agencies. And indeed, there are many that want to be good agencies and who want to treat their workers right. And in this panel today, we've had an industry example from seafood, but we could have also included an industry example from the recruitment agency, because working with recruitment agency associations in different countries on their own self-compliance initiatives, it has been a big part of our work in the region. In fact, I think we have a representative from VAMAS, the Vietnam Association of Manpower Services, in the room. And we have been working, I think VAMAS Code of Conduct was adopted in 2009. So this is really a long time ago, and the ILO has been supporting VAMAS in, taking this leadership in the recruitment industry, in aligning their members' practices and also rewarding good practices through their own compliance system and monitoring processes. And after VAMAS, we have supported similar initiatives in Myanmar, and then in Cambodia, where there is ACRA, Association of Cambodian Recruitment associations. They have a code of conduct, and now just 2 years ago, last year, the first ever recruitment agency association was established in Laos as well. So there is a Laos Employment Business Association that we are working on to also increase these standards, and those who are responsible recruiters and want to join and lift up their practices could work together in those platforms. So I think this is the time for us to close now. Thank you very much, and thank you for the questions. I'm sure there would have been more, but this is all the time we have now. So I would like to thank Maria for joining online, Atapan and Zarni for joining here in person, and wishing you all a good rest of the conference. Thank you.